Sound Production. Sound Production. Sound Production.
Good evening, gentlemen. It is your boy Sirius. Welcome to tonight's stream. I know it's been a while, but unfortunately, there's a lot of adult responsibilities that need to be taken care of, and I am unable to make the time to stream. I do visit streams, right? Because your boy Chaz and Undead Chronic, they've been holding it down when it came to streams. Doing a great job, like the usual. But tonight, I got something to talk about. And it's pretty much common sense, but at the same time, I want to get into the details. I really want to break it down, Barney style, about how, in my opinion, women in general, they can't really think outside their own bubble. They can't really perceive the world as a whole, like in the bigger picture. It's always about what they want and what they want only. They're only worried about number one. Okay. And in my opinion, that is very destructive in the long run. It's female nature, so I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that. But with all these unfair laws, social media, and unchecked hypergamy, it is definitely bad for everybody else. With women with the the biggest ego that I've ever seen. And for what? Just for existing? But we're gonna give some examples out very soon. Let me see who's in the chat. I see Solar Wolf. What's going on? Invictus. Uh, you got a chicken avatar now? Huh. What's going on, man? Green Skin was good. Master Menos Yeet. Yes, indeed. Gem Power. Storm Crow was good. IY fan says, actually, no, I'm going to address that earlier comment you did. Telos the Dragon, what is going on? Gatekeeper, of course, one and only. WC Wrath. I'm assuming he's Wrath. Wrath. Get your passports and fly like bird gentlemen. If you stay in the USA, you will live in a matriarchy. Agreed. And what do we always say about matriarchies? They don't last long. They don't last long, whether it's just in a simple household or society as a whole. Never in history a matriarchal society survived long term. Brantley, what's good, bro? And I know that D-Man, he's of course once again passing out those memberships like it's candy, okay, making it rain. Very generous dude, D-Man. He's definitely a great contributor to the Warband. I appreciate it. Mystery, what's going on? I see IY fan. He says, so they should be held to the same standards and since the top level are corrupt, every single FBI agent should be held on conspiracy and treason charges and executed. See, in a dream world, that would be possible, right? What I mean by it's not very probable, because how you gonna put the rules on a group of people that created the rules? You can't enforce the rules on a group that like, come on, like you can't put the rules on me. I invented the rules. I don't have to follow the rules like you do. So it's not very probable, but I do see what you're saying, IY fan. I think I got everybody. Nope, of course the D-Man was good. The pooch, and I think that's it. All right, I am going to invite the one, the only Grey Ghost. What's going on, Grey Ghost?
Hey, good evening. Well, funny thing is, Phalo Greenskin, I actually have some Phalo colored paints out because that's what I've got going on in the background right now, painting. But now, here's the interesting thing about what IY fan said there, because I've got 2 cents to weigh in on. Because it's not about who makes the rules. It's about who enforces the rules. And the people who enforce the rules are the ones in power. Here's the thing, like you can hold the people in power to account if you yourself have power. And then you use the rules as justification to the masses to prevent them from exercising their power on you.
That is true. I agree with that. But the ballpark is definitely with the with Capitol Hill right now, with Washington D.C.
Well, okay. I mean, yes, but that's because they have organization of their power.
Yeah.
Like they've organized and consolidated their power, and they're doing everything that they can to prevent anyone else within the United States from organizing and consolidating power, because you saw how pissed scared they were when a bunch of peaceful people just walked around inside their territory.
Oh, you're talking about that day? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like you know how pissed scared, well, at the very least, they appeared to be.
Yeah, they had to evacuate the buildings, right? Yeah. All the congressmen and most of them just got out of there. So
yeah, because they know all it would take is one person to catch them with their guard down.
Right. So I see what you're saying. The only thing that we don't have is organization. So
Yeah. And unfortunately, like all methods of communication are controlled by the people at the top. So any sort of organization is bound to be disrupted, dismantled, infiltrated, etc.
yeah, we're gonna have to go back at least 100 plus years.
Like that's the big difference between 1776 and the modern day is that in 1776 I, Britain was on the other side of the ocean. Troop deployment took ages. Communication took like a message's delivery time was not measured in seconds but days. So whoever could have the face-to-face conversations, i.e., locals in pubs and whatnot, like they had the distinct advantage. Whereas nowadays, when like, chances are you like if you're talking like just me talking right now, my phone's within earshot. Like my messages are being logged, like my voice and what I say is being logged to a database and being scanned for potential stuff that probably could be used against me in the future. So it's an entirely different paradigm right now.
Agreed. Unless we have a bunch of Paul Revere's running around delivering the messages, being the communication, it's going to be very difficult.
Well, that's the thing. Like, well, honestly, yeah, you're right. Like, it would have to be like people delivering messages via word of mouth, and ideally without any sort of GPS on their person at all times. So they probably want to downgrade their phones to something that doesn't have a GPS installed inside it at all.
Yeah, people don't really know how to read maps either these days. Yeah, so that's going to be a pain. Well, they can do the landmark style. Like they can just compare the terrain and like, okay,
Actually,
we're somewhere close.
Funnily enough, like I've been meaning to look into this a bit just from a historical curiosity. But how do you think they mapped out routes and pathways before they had a bird's eye view?
Pretty much looking like landmarking, pretty much looking at the land and
That's the thing. Like,
they have to climb like to like high elevated areas and
well, no,
just
no,
pretty
that's the
much-
thing. From what I heard, and I can't
Also-
really place the source of this, is that they used ground level landmarks.
ground level landmark.
Like
Okay.
they like imagine like you go to a certain area and you're like, okay, yeah, this is notable enough, and then you'd have someone sketch out the landmark.
I never really thought about that. That's actually pretty genius.
That's the thing. So because like I think of like historical fantasy stuff, and like ever since Tolkien, at the very least, they've had like top-down maps to show the layout to us. But the odds that people of that particular era, where like at most you got a high tree or a hill, yeah, good luck plotting out that kind of like geography and topology. The world was probably a lot more fill in the blanks with just a few notable landmarks, and then everything else was a giant big
Yeah, the only thing that I'll say one of the oldest ways that you can do a map, I guess, is literally marking territory. Like if you put some type of symbol on like a tree or a rock or something. That's how people will know they're going the right way.
Yeah, but it's just fascinating to think about like those kinds of details that we take for granted in the modern day, that if we were to go back to a low tech and we were to lose a bunch of our maps, we'd probably have to go back to that style of like recording where the heck we are.
And yes, as one guy says, we still have the advantage. Yeah, the only advantage we have is vast numbers. Like we outnumber them. Like not even a question.
Yeah, quantity of numbers and just sheer quantity of information too. Like we do have an advantage, but we need to acknowledge that things are a bit tougher than they were like what, 250 years ago ish.
Yes, exactly. And remember, Chad, the last time we had to clash in America, I mean, like legit war in America, that was our bloodiest war in history. We lost a lot of people in that war. So imagine what happens today with the technology and the weaponry we have.
Yeah,
It's
this
going,
is where
going crazy.
yeah, like this is where we can actually learn from the conflict in the Middle East, like how a whole bunch of people with low tech and decent communication were able to, at the very least, fend off like the USA. Now, of course,
Yeah,
there's up for debate whether or not the USA was seriously trying, but at the very least, it looked authentic enough.
yeah, it's crazy. Like for over 20 years, for over 20 years, they were able to at least give the U.S. a hard time or an annoying time. So yeah, that's how it's going to be. Because once again, uh, it's going to be unconventional warfare if things get crazy in the U.S. So we don't have the same uniforms and we don't have any battle plan. It will be straight up guerrilla warfare, and it's going to be a pain for Capitol Hill to deal with.
Like honestly, the biggest thing with Capitol Hill, like should it come to it, we're going on a hell of a tangent here. It's that they need the masses to keep the power and the lights on.
Yes, actually,
Like,
yeah. Now that I think about it, yeah, if everybody's like, you know what, I'm not going to do my job, the important jobs, then Capitol Hill be like, hey, relax.
that's the
They'll
thing. Like, what are they going to do? Take their military and like send them to run the power plants? Not to mention, like, if enough profitable people decide to just eject themselves from the system, how are they going to pay everybody? What are they going to pay in?
that is true. They'll probably promise in some form of like bonds or something, like some type of IOU situation.
Yeah, well, that entirely depends on is the grocery store going to take IOUs? Like people's
That is true.
expenses don't stop just because there's no money.
Oh, that is true. That is true. That will play a major factor as well. The logistics, the resources. You know, once it runs out, well, why would they even bother at this point? You know,
Like I remember back when China was dealing with the recent global issue.
right.
Like they would essentially bribe their police force with food, and like not just food for like the officers, but food for the families of the officers because they'd provide them with such abundance, and that was how they were able to get the officers to keep the rest of the population in check.
You know what? Okay, that's kind of messed up, but I do see why it worked.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't invalidate a tactic or a strategy simply because it's distasteful. What works works.
Right. And the pooch says the Mexican cartels go after government officials, family members. Just saying. See here's the big. The United States is one gigantic wheel, right? That people are making good money. They got good food. They're able to put some roof over their head in general, and how you say a lot of people are too afraid to remove that spoke from the wheel and just completely throw everything into chaos, out of control.
Well, that's the thing. It's like security and convenience. Like people do not want to give those up. It's the biggest reason why, like, I call bullshit on a bunch of parents who say that they love their kids and they'll do anything for them. Because the first thing I'd counter with is, are you going to take them out of public school? No.
Yeah, Yeah, complete hypocrite.
Like you look at public school, you know what the public schools are feeding into them. You don't disagree with me on any of that, but you're still sending your kids there.
Yeah, they're complete hypocrites. Like there's no way. There's no way.
So yeah, there's no way. It's like, well, we'll do anything for your kids. No, you'll say you'll do anything, but as soon as it's something that inconveniences you, then you start making excuses.
Exactly. Did you pop open a bottle?
Yeah. Sorry, there's a little bit of drink mixing ASMR.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. I'm like, is he pop bottles over there?
Yeah, no, pop some spice rum. I got a cooler full of ice with some beverages in it. So yeah.
But chat, there's a lot of when it comes to discussing this type of situation, it's gonna take a whole 2 hours to discuss a scenario because there's so many layers when it comes to this. It's not even funny.
Yeah, but we sorry to drag you off topic there because you do actually have a topic for this, but
no, it's all good. I just have to mention that, chat. If you think that war is just about going in there all kamikaze with a bayonet and shit, there's way more that goes into it.
Now,
what's up?
All war is economic.
Yep, economic, social, logistics, etc. I think it was 7 or 8 layers.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like I've been playing a lot of wargaming recently. I mention it every couple streams, and the main thing is that, like in the war game, you have the objectives, and one of the biggest mistakes that new players go for is they play to try and get a large number of kills on their opponent rather than trying to take the objectives, and so they can like really beat up the opponent, sure, but they end up losing out the objectives because they didn't actually control the important points. And war could be like that too. You can rack up a high body count but still lose the war.
Right. Because once again, chat, Russia didn't win the Battle of Stalingrad because they, oh, look at us, we killed them, or they killed us. No, the environment won that war. Nobody wants to freeze to death, and unfortunately, a lot of them did.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like in that point, the Russian objective would have been like, look, you don't have to win, you just have to not die and keep them in position.
Right. Fear too. Because if you try to retreat, at least on the Russian side, that's your ass.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you need to maintain morale. Like make sure that they fear the consequences of retreating more so than they do like death by the enemy, and that's a huge part of the motivation that is being lost with the U.S. and the West in general, because men nowadays, like men back in the day, like they had shit to live for beyond their own life. Nowadays, most men really don't.
That is true. I think what was it called again? The Red Line. I think that situation was called, or no, was it? It was something that Stalin called it. Where pretty much you can only move forward, you can't go back. Like you can't go backwards. Yeah, there was a phrase for that, and I'll look it up later.
Now, personally, I think that is very foolish because if you're only moving forwards, that means that your battle line is going to gradually be stretched thinner and thinner. It's going to be harder to get your logistics out there. There are times when it is perfectly acceptable and, in fact, advantageous to pull your lines back and reinforce your defenses. Because every mile you gain, that is another mile that resources need to be transported out to the front lines.
Yeah, what Stalin did was pretty fucking stupid. That's why he lost, I think, over 1 million lives in that battle.
Yeah. Well, communists, what are you going to do?
I can't disagree with that, man. But let's go ahead and get into the topic. I'm gonna show some examples in a bit. But before I do, chat, if you want to support your boy, link on top of the chat, Cash App /Sirius, or you can do super chat, or you can become a member. Any donations appreciated. Thank you very much. So Greg Ghost, I explained earlier that it was a tough pill to swallow for me, uh, and I had to accept it. Not that long ago, like, damn, women in general really cannot think outside of their own fucking bubble. Like it's literally all about them all the time. No matter what you say or do, they always want to refer back to them and what they want and what they need. And and if they don't get it, it's your fault, even though it was their choice. You get what I'm saying?
I do, and I'm like, it might just me being like the kind of devil's advocate thing here, but I'm wondering what percentage of that is cultural, because I'll admit there's a bloody good chance that a lot of it is just ingrained. But I seriously wonder if it was always like that, or if it was at very least always as pronounced as it is today.
I will say it's always been like that. But because of everything is going unchecked now, it's getting out of control. Like it's they're allowed to say the stupidest shit or do the stupidest shit without worrying about any type of consequences. So now they're just living in their own la la land.
What's the thing? I think that that's a big part of it there. The lack of consequences. Because, once upon a time, women did actually experience consequences for the things that they said and did.
I agree, because believe me, like my grandpa, even though he's older, sometimes he has to shut some things down when it comes to my mother, or when it came to his wife, my grandma. Said like, hey, like calm down, relax. You're saying some crazy nonsense. Like you're getting out of control. Like calm that shit down. But if men even do that once, then I'm assuming average men, it's how you say, met with aggression and combativeness, and things can go downhill very fast because
towards women.
Oh, what's up?
Towards women.
Yeah. Well,
because here's the thing. I think that a lot of it is the power dynamic.
Yes.
Because like maybe some stuff that I've experienced, but like I will see this same sort of behavior in men when those men like believe themselves or actually have themselves in a superior position where you can't really hit back.
That is true. That's completely true.
Like again, I'm like personal thing. Yeah, there's this one dude. Like the dude's asking for like a beat down, both physically and verbally. But I know if I give it to him, like it'll be my ass that faces the fucking hot seat.
Well, yeah, you're right.
So it's like, so the thing is like he's not going to suffer consequences for his bullshit, and so he's going to keep doing it.
I completely agree. I know we talked about this before, but this little 5'3", 5'4" woman squaring up with a 6 foot something bouncer because she's upset that she was getting thrown out. Does she really think that she can just how you say, try to go at him and in fact throw hands? And she suffered pretty badly for it. And the bouncer didn't even try. He just like shoved her away, and she flew like 20 feet.
And that's the thing. And even then, like that's not okay. Like, imagine a dude trying that. Like, he wouldn't just be shoved back and then ignored.
Oh no, it'll end well. I saw a dude getting like completely, like on like some wrestling stuff, got completely slammed.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like even when women suffer consequences, it is the most mild of consequences. Stuff where they might be like, oh, shocked that, oh, I was pushed, I was shoved away, I might have a bruise. It's like, okay, you know what? How about we actually enforce equality?
Yeah, the bouncers will. It won't end well for the ladies. Let's just say that. It won't end well for the ladies. You'll be seriously injured or worse. Let's keep it that. Let's keep it like that, chat. And they know this, but besides the social conditioning of not respecting men, they know that they have the boys in blue on their side. That's why they're so bold. Or the Simpson White Knights.
They just know it on a subconscious level too. It's not even like they act. That's the thing. Like they're probably the only ones that go around and can genuinely believe that to protect and serve applies to them.
Oh man, it gets very old after a while. I'm gonna be real. I'm be very honest. You know how many times, which is another reason why this stream exists. You know how many times a woman wants to push that, but you're the man, so you're supposed to do. I'm like, what? I ain't supposed to do shit. What are you talking about?
It's like, yeah, I'm supposed to do that shit for my wife. I don't see no ring on this finger.
like who are you? Like what do you mean?
Yeah, I'm supposed to do that shit for my family, for my wife. Random women in the street? Hell to the no. I ain't no fucking knight bound by a code of chivalry. I ain't no fucking cop. I am a civilian. My duty is to my family, and you are not a part of them.
Do you know how quick they become beyond upset after they get a taste of equality? They start yelling at the men in the crowd, talking about, "You just going to let him do that to me? You just going to let him do that?" Like, what do you want me to do? I'm just chilling. Like, it ain't my problem. I'm not involved with the problem. Well, why would I get myself involved? you wanted the smoke.
Same treatment for you and me. Equality. Same treatment for you and me.
Why are you so upset? Like, what do you mean?
Oh god, I'm sorry. If that ever happens, I'm just gonna break out into that kind of cheer. Can I ever hear a woman shouting like that? I'm just gonna break out into it. Maybe even start a cheer back.
See, it might hurt a lot of hearts. Whatever, how many women are watching right now? Probably like 2 or 3. It's 2023. Since modern woman wants to abandon their traditional roles, men can refuse to do their roles as well. Uh-oh.
Yeah. What's the thing? Like the rules, like those only applied to things that the man had control over, that the man had power over. If the man has no power, then it's not his responsibility. Like me interfering, it's someone else's business. It's like me telling someone else how to do their job, how to manage their kids. Like, no, that's not my place.
Speaking of that, I want to talk about this certain situation. And this involves a situation as well. Hold up. I know it's gone around already, but I want to talk about it. Where you at? I want a boomer moment. Nope, not you. Definitely not you. Okay, there we go. Already see it?
Yeah, I see it. Oh yeah,
That
this
threw
one.
me off. I was like, see, chat, you need to understand. women, a lot of women, they want to act dumb when it comes to this type of situation. Women knows the power of the tongue. They know. They know how much damage they can do to a man in 2023. So I don't want to hear that shit. One false accusation from one woman that you probably never even met in your life, your life is over. And it's a million times worse if these false accusations came from people that are close to you, such as your wife. And look where it landed him.
Well, they are the most likely to come from someone that you know. Like, statistically, I believe you are more likely to suffer a crime from someone you know than a complete stranger.
Agreed. And I'm assuming, right? I don't know the entire story. I'm assuming that the marriage was going to be over and he was probably on his way out. That's my assumption. And she was like, and she's in her own little bubble. Oh, I'm not getting what I want. I'm not getting what I want. So I'm going to ruin everything you got. And then she went for the worst type of accusations a man can get. So his reputation was probably done, right? That's out the window.
That's the thing. Like reputation was done, but
then we got a bunch of white knights out of nowhere thinking that, oh yeah, we got him, boys. We got him.
That's the thing. And like, look at the fucking vigilante too.
Yeah.
Like that ain't no fucking upstanding model citizen. Like that is what Antifa grows up into.
pretty much, yeah. And now the guy I'm assuming he died by getting
chainsawed.
Shot? Oh, chainsawed.
The dad got chainsawed.
Okay. I thought he got shot as well, but all right.
Possibly that might have been the way that took him out. But I think at that point, like, I'm sorry, I don't think that you can like non-fatally torture someone with a chainsaw.
Exactly. And I think she got some time, but I think it was only
7 years.
7 years. Imagine that, chat. Imagine that she's the cause of your end. She only has to serve 7 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
I will repeat this ad nauseum until it sinks in. There is no profit in putting a woman in prison. The government is only going to imprison a woman as long as they feel it is necessary to soothe public opinion.
Yeah, I agree. She only talked, right? She wasn't involved directly with the crime.
Okay. That's like saying that you can hire an assassin and technically you're not guilty of murder.
Well, I don't know the entire story, but I'm sure these vigilantes acted on their own, I guess. I don't know the entire story.
Yeah, like she didn't post like she didn't post her husband's fucking personal information, details, typical routes of movement.
It's a very unfortunate situation, chat.
Like, I'm not saying I want him dead, but if anyone were to come for him, they could get in most likely between the hours of 3 and 4 p.m. at this exact street at this exact time on these days of the week.
Hey, nobody's talking about this, chat. Nobody. I literally had to go on another Manosphere channel to even get this type of information. Besides that, now the news, I didn't see anything trending on any social media site. Silence.
Now, Coltimus, I don't think putting them in prison is going to stabilize society. Like, I really don't. Like, okay, okay, so let's compare this to a male convicted of like robbery or whatever. Like, if you let him out, he's probably going to commit some other crime causing destabilization. This woman, like, you let her out, how long is it going to be before she does something of this scope again? Probably going to be a couple years.
Yep.
Like, it's going to take a while. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, it fucked up one dude. Like, one. Like, you can argue, yeah, it fucked up the kids too. Destabilized the house, but she was already screwed. No, she's not a stupid woman. This is not the act of a stupid woman. Because that would mean absolving her. No, so far as I'm concerned, she knows exactly what she did and that it was going to happen.
She was a scorned woman, spiteful.
Yeah, like, this is not stupid. Stupid would be if she didn't realize the consequences and just did it willy-nilly. No, she intentionally got her husband killed. That's not stupid. That's malicious.
Completely agree.
And we need to stop giving all women the benefit, like, oh, they just didn't know any better. Oh, they acted on their feelings. Oh, they're just crazy. No. No one would give a man that kind of excuse, ever.
Nope.
Like, a man drinks a shit ton, gets into a vehicle, makes terrible decisions, and ends a bunch of lives. No one goes, oh, well, he was drunk. He didn't know any better.
A man needs to have some type of mental disabilities, like legit documented, for him to even have a chance to be absolved.
But the reason that all the excuses are made for women is because there's no profit to the government for putting them in prison. A woman in prison is just another mouth to feed and pay security to look after and monitor all the freaking this, that, and the other thing that it requires to freaking house and like clothe and observe a woman 24/7. That's expensive.
Yeah, she helps the government out when she is out there in the world and tricking a rich simp to marry her and divorce and all. And that's where they make money.
They are government agents. They snitch on men. They report free-thinking men to the government and get the government involved to imprison them, or they break men's will to shut them down. Like, that is the role of women in society. They are of no profit to the government while in prison. They need to be, quote unquote, free to mess with men in order to serve their function in society.
Agreed. Why do you think misandry is normalized, but when a man calls out a woman's wrongs, completely attacked by women, simps, white knights, and now the government?
Yeah.
So I see where Gray's trying to go. Right now, there's not that many, free thinkers that are willing to speak out left. There's not that many left. Right? Because eventually talking there'll be no more talk. There'll have to be a different course of action.
That's the thing. Like, you and I, to just talk about this kind of stuff, we need to be in separate rooms, in separate countries, behind avatars and false names.
That is true.
This level of discussion is something that cannot happen in a public forum. And quite frankly, if YouTubers were actually serious about going through this kind of stuff, like, not YouTubers and the viewers, but YouTube staff, quality control, they'd absolutely do everything to nuke this out of existence.
Agreed. Because chat in public, I'm sure you've seen videos of of just one man just having one poster saying, let's just say, there's only two genders. Do you know how quick he's swarmed by the mob?
Yeah, I mean,
It,
honestly,
just give it like
you'd probably get less flack for a swastika.
literally, like give it 5 to 10 minutes, and you will literally have a swarm of mainly people from the alphabet community trying to shut you down, try to destroy your property, or they try to put their hands on you, assault.
And they know they'll get away with it.
Exactly. And as soon as a man defends himself, give him a little bit of a two-piece combo. Oh, they're the victims now. That's the game that they play, chat. They maximize their power through victim mentality.
And because it works, because the thing is, they need that victim framing to be acceptable, to have their actions accepted by the populace in general. It doesn't need to be true. It just needs to be true enough that the average person won't get a rise out of it.
Oh, Easter, burning the American flag, completely normal. Nothing's going to happen. Freedom of speech, right? That's part of the First Amendment. Burn the pride flag, you're instantly going down for hate speech.
That's the thing. Like, there were some incidences that a lot of shit was kicked up because, a couple weeks back, there was a gathering up in Ottawa where Christians and Muslims came together to stomp pride flags.
Really?
Yeah. It's about the most based Canada's been in years.
But Chad, you need to understand, all right? This is one of many examples of women being their own little bubble, right? They can't think long term. They can't be rational in general. What I mean by that is it's all about them and them alone. And if they don't get what they want, she doesn't care how many people she has to throw under the bus.
And here's the thing, though. If they were in the position of having children, like let's use an example that's been covered before. That whole like Steven Crowder and his wife thing, and her being super paranoid while pregnant. That's what you want. Like you want a hypersensitive person, not afraid to vocalize their needs when it comes to a child being raised. So you can understand how vital that particular bit is inside. Like imagine if a man was pregnant. Like you took a man's brain, translated it just transferred it into a woman's body that was pregnant. And the man started to feel like shit, and he did his normal, like, I'll probably be fine. This isn't anything to worry about. Wouldn't really go over very well for the survival of the kid.
That's true. That is true. We tend to try to tough it out.
Yeah. Like the guy would try to tough it out, just think that it's something normal, not worth discussing. You probably see like a higher rate of infant mortality and probably child and parent stuff. So having a hypersensitive, needy human in charge of the incubation chamber, yes, that is a good thing.
Completely agree. I agree with that 1,000,000%. Because once again, men, we could be sensitive, but it's way, 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 way less likely that that's ever going to happen in our lifetimes, because society in general, especially women, don't like sensitive men like that. Women are the hardest on men when it comes to being a man, Chad. Yeah, society this, yeah, culture that. Women throughout history. Okay, what was that? What was that quote? Because I think I seen it on Discord or something. Women will much rather see you die going into battle than running away. The standards of masculinity is put on you the hardest with the women in your life. Okay, not just your wife. I'm talking about your daughter. I'm talking about your cousins, your sister, your mother. Sorry.
In the role where that woman is the mother of a child, yes, that makes sense, because the man that is willing to go and fight and die, he's going, like, that guy stands a stronger chance of keeping the enemy at bay to protect the life of the unborn child or the existing defenseless child versus the guy that runs away and lets the enemy in.
Agreed. Just as the quote, they rather see you die on your white horse than fall down.
So
they'll much rather see you going out on your own 2 feet. You know, and that's good. And listen, I don't fault them for thinking that way. That's female nature.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and it's beneficial to the continuation of the bloodline for both the man and the woman. Well, especially the man. That's the thing, especially the man, because like if the man retreats and the barbarian comes in, yeah, the baby's going to be slaughtered, but the woman's probably just going to get knocked up again for a different man.
Agreed. And that's the thing, like we were just talking about not that long ago. There really isn't any, there's no incentives anymore for men in Western society to even uphold their own, traditional value of being masculine, being this and that, being the protector or provider.
It's not their kids.
Yeah, it's not even their own kids.
But if it's not your kids, then you don't have a reason. Because this is the thing, because there's apparently, I forget exactly what they're called, but there's 2 basic mating strategies. One is where you have few offspring and you really heavily invest in them. And the other one is where you have a lot of offspring and you don't really invest in them and you're basically just playing the numbers.
Right. And plenty of women are having abortions now. Plenty of women are refusing to have kids, but they still expect men to uphold their end of the bargain 100%. I'm like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works.
No, you need to be giving the man kids if you want his investment. Now, will men invest when they're not even getting kids? Yes. And those men are called cucks.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of cucks. I forgot to bring him up. Adam 22.
Oh.
His situation is just getting worse and worse.
I was thinking, I haven't even caught in on all that drama. Like, it literally pops up on my feed, and it's like, motherfuckers, I just worked 8.5 hours. I just want to sit down, have a burger on the barbecue, paint a little bit, and get some fucking sleep.
Yes, I completely agree, man. Like, I can't really. I'm only caught up mainly because I watch Hammer Hands and Chronix streams. So
that's how so many cucks have come out of the woodwork within the past 2 weeks. And I'm like, wait, which one's Adam 22 again? Because I can't even remember.
He's the dude that's pretty much from No Jumper. Like, he's a guy with a bunch of tattoos or whatever. But he's been doing some adult films right along with his wife. But then one day, his wife decided to go off on her own. And he says this wasn't part of the agreement. She wanted to do a film with a big old 6-foot-something Tyrone Maximus guy, big old black dude. And it's been revealed more and more that Adam 22 was in the room filming the entire thing. Like it's so bad. And I think he recently had a interview with the guy that pretty much broke his back's wife, like literally reamed her out. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Oh man, it is. I haven't watched that interview yet. But his wife, okay, his wife and that big old black dude were both in the interview. They were all talking with each other. That's why I gotta watch that interview because I already know it's bad. I already know it's bad.
Yeah, no, and yeah, no. Kaylord's mentioning in the chat that he sent me another link, which is of a cuck like equally bad, if not worse. I haven't caught it yet, but the title. I'll read you the title. Just the
God.
title.
What's the title?
The title is "I had the best cuckold experience."
Oh God, who was it by? Do we know this person?
I've never heard of the dude. Gross Gore Ali Larson.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Fucking. Yeah.
Here to reinforce the lessons yet again. Yes, thank you very much for your donation. Now that I think about it, I think Cuck Murphy still has the number 1 spot. I think he's still the biggest cuck on YouTube. But Adam is coming pretty close.
The thing is, do we? I think until Matic finds the ultimate receipts, Jack Murphy's going to hold number 1 spot.
Yeah, he's been holding it for like how long? A year and a half now?
Oh,
Almost
couple
2
years. Couple years, easy.
It is like, chat, why do you do this to yourself? And they want to make the biggest. Adam 22 tried his best to defend his situation on Twitter. It was laughable. It was pathetic. It was pathetic.
Yeah.
How is your wife laughing in your face that she got reamed out by a, I don't know.
It's just called Tyrone. It's called
Tree trunk.
A bull. That's the technical term.
Oh, I couldn't. Like, they're really trying their best to normalize. Did Adam 22 like? Did he sell out to the mob? Like, did he?
Wait. Do you know what is required to believe that this whole situation is good?
What?
A bull cuck mindset.
All right, that's pretty funny. That's pretty fucking funny. Oh shit. Oh man, but this is chat. This is why these grifters left and right that want to talk so bad about how masculine and how macho they are, they're definitely compensating for something. You never once heard me or Gray or Chaz or Chronic bragging 24/7 about how masculine we are. Like, come on. So, should I be surprised about this? Yes. But am I? No, not really.
That's the thing. It's like the difference between, like, you hear this one dude got struck by lightning. You're like, holy shit, really? The first time. And then you hear that another dude got struck by lightning. You're like, whoa, shit, that's super uncommon. That starts to happen all around you, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? And then you realize, yeah, all these guys are standing on hilltops in the middle of thunderstorms with 50-foot metal poles screaming obscenities at Zeus. And you're like, oh. And then you hear, oh shit, this dude got struck by lightning. Yeah. Another one.
Man, it is. Everything, at least when it comes to this space, everything is unraveling because of these mainstream cucks. Like, it's so annoying. It is so annoying.
And the funny thing is, like, if anything, what this has proven is that the saying there's no such thing as bad publicity is 100% false. Because these guys are doing, like, I'm pretty sure that these guys see that cuck stories are trending and they're like, you know what? I could get so many fucking shekels in popularity if I reveal that I'm a cuck. and then they do it, then whatever YouTube career they might have had is fucked because they will never take that stain off.
Oh, ever. Did Cook Murphy lose like over 20,000 subs so far? I think that's how much he lost.
And they always try to make it out as though they're somehow like the winners. That's the thing, because like you've never really seen a cuck embrace that they are in fact a loser.
I think it's straight up cope, right? Just straight up coping with the situation.
Because like here's the thing, like if you had someone come out as a cuck and then like they were doing a journey of like self-reflection and redemption to make sure that that never happened again, that might actually be something that people invest in and look at and like, okay, you know what? Like maybe this guy can earn respect. But no, they all try to puff out their chest and say that they're even more of a man for it.
Oh yeah, I think Adam22 did say that one of his in one of his Twitters. I gotta watch Manic's video because I think he did put out a Adam22 video. I gotta watch it one more time. He was really coping so hard to the point where he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big old man. I'm proud of what my wife did." Blah blah blah. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, bro, stop it. Like, just stop. You know you're talking bullshit right now. You're really trying to convince the lie that you're trying to tell everybody, that you're trying to tell yourself that you think that this is good, like this situation is good for you.
That's
Stop.
He is trying to convince himself, and that's the key point. Like they haven't admitted to themselves how fucked up it is. So they just doubled down on what they know. They know it's wrong, but they can't bring themselves to admit it.
It's pretty pathetic, but hey, Frost, thank you for donating. I think I forgot to read it. Ricky Berwick roasted Adam22 so hard. Yeah, it's that one cripple dude, right? Yeah, he roasted the fuck out of. It's so bad. It's over for Adam22 in the sense of him trying to portray himself as some manly man. It's over. It's over because we know deep down, ingrained in our minds as men, that like you are pretty much almost at the bottom of the totem pole. If you really let your wife get reamed out like that, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like I know one guy, like he acts like he's hyper masculine, covered in fucking tattoos. Like talk shit, tries to be like a big, bold, masculine man. Dude literally drives into the city every couple weeks so that both him and his wife can fuck strangers.
Hell no. Hell to the fucking no. Like I'm like with this situation, okay, chat with the cucking situation. Sorry, I can't blame the woman like that compared to how you say. If a woman's willing to literally step out the covenant that she made with God in order to sleep with Tyrannus Maximus right in front of you, while you're in the corner literally beating it off and recording, it's all on you. It's completely all on you. Sorry, bro.
Well,
but
like,
what's up?
Let's use a counter example. So, like, let's look at some of the situations where people have been taking the 5-finger discount. It's one thing if you take the 5-finger discount and like the cops are going to dive tackle you and beat your ass. But if the cop will just straight up look at you, watch you do it, and stop other people from interfering with your 5-finger discount, that's not your fault anymore. That's the cop's fault.
That's true. I agree with that.
Like at that point, you are just doing what makes the most logical sense.
Wait, I miss your chat. Hold up. I don't think I did. Did I? Oh shit, I did. My bad. Gem Power with a generous donation says it takes real strength to be a cuck. Yeah. Yeah, all right, Gem Power. Okay. Yeah. Destiny is the epitome of strength, right?
Also, Coltimus, these criminal women belong in prisons that they stopped acting crazy and tearing society apart. No, again, there's no profit to them just, taking up space in prison, eating food and doing shit. Like, it's still a burden on the taxpayer. No, what they belong in is a forced breeding program to make government slave babies so they can actually repay their debt to society through useful taxpayers. And they deserve to have their ring fingers cut off as a sign to everyone else that they are completely unfit for marriage and relationships. So just putting them in prison and treating them the same as a man in prison? No, that's useless.
Chat, you need to understand, okay? Prison. Let's be real. Let's take that dose of the red pill, right? Let's go ahead and take that dose. Prison isn't just about putting people behind bars. It's free labor, pretty much.
It is free labor. Well, to be fair, it is taxpayer funded labor.
Right.
The taxpayer pays for the men to be imprisoned, and the men are rented out as cheap labor to whatever low skill project the prison can work with. Like, that's what they are there for. You can't use that with women. It would be better if women faced some sort of like actual physical punishment. And I figure, like, what are the two things that you could do? Like, how can a woman be useful? Like, breeding stock. That's basically it.
For me, it's how to explain it. Women don't learn through punishment like men do, unless it was extreme punishment. Then both parties will understand what's going on. But when you're just talking about some regular punishment, right?
Actually, I just had a brilliant idea, Yeetus. Do you want to hear how criminal women could be used to benefit society as a whole?
Is it YouTube friendly? Because you're already going there.
Okay, let me put it. Okay, in that case, I will use a euphemism. There's been the feminist argument that medicine is patriarchal because there have been so few studies of drugs conducted on women. We could solve that.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy, bro. I'm just talking about okay, extreme crimes, yeah, we can talk about that. But when it comes to regular crimes, right? I will say that men and women, they learn differently. Men, they learn very quickly that they're going to be in a den of wolves, and they're going to have to fight. They're going to have to do some crazy labor for some 10 cents an hour, right? And everything in the commissary is worth $1. So right, they can't even pay for anything. But when it comes to women, I will say public shaming. Public shaming is a big factor for women being in line.
In that case, let me give it an alternative. You don't have women serve prison time because having like feeding them behind bars, that's kind of useless. Instead, you put a different tattoo on their body, somewhere visible, like their hands or their face, depending on the crime.
I completely agree. And then, because we all know, chat, we all know in this chat that the last thing a woman wants to feel is ostracized by society, right? She's already deathly afraid of being abandoned by her own friends, let alone everybody else.
Actually, funny thing is, this is probably actually one of the better things in Harry Potter. So, do you remember when they make that like secret dark art society in like book 6, I think it was?
Which book?
The 6th one, the one where the government professor, the woman with the pink.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, so the thing is, when they made the society, Hermione had everybody who signed up sign a magical contract saying, yeah, you can't snitch about this. And what happened to the person who did eventually snitch was that she broke out in like some kind of like super zitty acne across her face that spelled out the word sneak. And it was really, really hard to get rid of, even with like the school nurse trying her damnedest.
That's actually perfect. To be
That,
honest,
like I
that
think,
was
like that
possible.
should be. That's what I think. Like if every time a woman committed a crime worthy of prison time for a man, she instead had it tattooed on her face, some sort of symbol. Like that whole like, oh, she had to wear like a scarlet A for adultery. It's like, no. You freaking put a big A on her cheek and then have her walk around with that every single day.
We gotta have that woman from I think it was Game of Thrones with the bell, like saying shame.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that was
Like
perfect.
admittedly, like walking naked through the streets without makeup while everyone can like laugh at you, point, laugh, and throw shit at you. Like,
Like
yeah, that works to a certain extent, but then afterwards, like, no, like, especially in today's day and age where you can just kind of fuck off. Like that was the Queen's, and it was a redemptive thing. Now it's like if they're gonna go to prison, just put a mark on their face indicating what it is.
I agree. So they can't even hide it,
Exactly.
It's right there. So I think that's a great idea, personally.
Yeah. And then they don't have to serve any time in prison. Like they literally just get their sentencing, get the tattoo, and then they're out.
But I'm gonna read this super chat right quick. Diesel Weasel, $10 donation, says the U.S. government is starting to catch on to men not being invested in society. Florida just got rid of permanent alimony, and other red states are coming up with laws more favorable to men. State governments, sure. The U.S. government, fuck no.
Yeah, and
they've literally put us on the FBI list.
Yeah, no, I ain't holding my breath for this being anything more than a short-term attempt to increase the birthing rate. And like, here's the thing. Like, sorry, I just kind of having a discussion with a Coltimus here. So public shaming, they don't care. They need to be punished by having their freedom taken. No, that's the thing. Public shame with a mark on their face, that is taking away their freedom. Like a woman's freedom is not the same as a man. A man can be in complete isolation without the help of anybody, and he can still be free because he can still fully do stuff. A woman needs societal acceptance. She needs other people to see her as valuable. She cannot survive on her own. To brand her effectively as an exile, that is a more effective way of taking away her freedom than just locking her in a cell for a couple years.
And you've seen previous, because I've read it in history books, but Coldus Maximus, I'm sure you've seen in certain medieval movies that a woman that's been portrayed as a wench, neither a man or a woman wants to be around them at all. They're literally looked down upon society. And let's say if a woman does do some type of crime back then, they are literally strapped into the I forgot what it was called. You put your head in your arms. Yeah. Like in town square where everybody can look at you. And like you said before, start throwing like, fruits and rotten tomatoes and, just say, oh, look at you. Haha, you're pathetic.
And here's the thing. Do you know who the biggest enforcers of this would be if there was public shame?
Who?
Women. Women love having another woman to tear down and make miserable.
Exactly. Completely agreed.
You put again. I think the tattoo on their face works because then it doesn't matter where they go. Because nowadays, like a woman could just, pack up and leave and skip town and potentially start new. And with today's population changing all the time, that wouldn't raise eyebrows. But no, like if she literally cannot have a face-to-face conversation with anyone without them seeing that mark, like women will attack men for associating with that woman.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It gets pretty bad, especially back then.
That's the thing. Like you give them the opportunity now. You make them a public target. You see how fast women will turn on each other, given half an excuse, half an opportunity. As soon as you have a publicly condoned reason for a woman to be ostracized, all the unmarked women are going to pile on her, and all the fucking simps are going to follow. Like that's the thing. I would not be surprised if this led to I'm not going to say it because YouTube, but I don't think that you'd have many marked women around for very long. Let's put it that way.
Hell, even worse, the worst possible thing is she can be chased out of town.
I'm thinking of something a little bit worse than being chased out of town.
Well, what I mean is back then.
Back then you could burn them at the stake, calling them a witch.
Well, that too, but I'm just saying when it comes to being ostracized.
Yeah, but
where you're not welcomed here anymore as a woman. That's pretty freaking terrifying.
That's the thing. But when you have it marked on your face for your crime, and with social media, you will have nowhere in the world that you can flee.
Agreed. And I want to use another example when it comes to public shaming. Chat, even to this day, somewhere in the Eastern world, right? Well, let's say Middle East. When a man gets in trouble, it's usually prison or, you get yeeted. When a woman gets in trouble, it's way more likely she's going to have public lashings in public. Like literally ceremonial, hey, you did this crime, 100 lashings. And it's usually across the bottom of your feet. That shit hurts. I don't know personally, but
a lot of nerve endings. Plus, then you gotta fucking walk on that shit afterwards.
Exactly. And believe me, with the things that I read and I've watched, I didn't watch it personally. I watched it on YouTube. It's definitely terrifying to women to get public lashings. Definitely terrifying. Because everybody in your area knows, like, oh, what did she do? Oh my God. Ugh. Then that's when the judging starts to begin. So even till this day, it works. But now, since that's not even a freaking thought in the West, look what's going on right now. No shame, no self-respect, no dignity, nothing. Just like come on, Chad. I agree. Even in the Middle East, they're way less likely to get thrown in prison. Way less likely. But they will get a public punishment. Men, they're like free labor, haha, goodbye.
Because here's the thing, like if I'm imagine posing this question. Let's be hypothetical here. Men, what would you rather do? Spend 5 years of your life in prison or have your feet whipped bloody?
Rather have it whipped.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
Like, immediately. Like it's temporary pain that probably won't be feeling for the next month or two, but I'll still be free.
Exactly.
Like men don't give a damn per se about public shame.
Yeah, like men will suffer the public shame because they can still be useful.
Exactly.
And other men are going to look like, okay, look, maybe you're fucking ostracized and shit, but you're still useful.
As long as you don't do the worst crimes, aka be a predator, you will still have some use in society, like Gray said.
Like, and the
Oh, yeah.
main reason that like predators get yeeted so hard is because nobody wants that around them.
Nobody.
Because like if you're willing to do it to any kids, then you're willing to do it to any kids, and every man will like absolutely deal with that shit to deal with children, and it will be like largely glossed over by society.
And hell, in extreme countries, right? Let's say a man is like, haha, I'm going to steal I'm going to steal this bike. Let's say in the country is Brazil. Then you get caught stealing that bike. You might lose some fingers. You might lose a hand. But you'll still be useful per se. Like you'll still be useful in society. But I'm not trying to play it down. Yeah, losing a body part is completely fucking bad.
Yeah. And everybody will still look at you sideways because like they'll be like, oh shit, what the heck did he steal? Is he going to steal from me? Like they won't give you that same sort of social freedom that they'd give an unmarked man.
And guess what? If a woman was caught doing the same thing, it's way less likely that she will go through that. It will go right back to whippings. And usually in public. Right? And in China, with various situations such as adultery, they usually, if the woman committed adultery, she's stripped down naked and paraded around in the streets by her husband. Like chat. The punishments, unfortunately, is a double standard to an extent.
It has to be. Men and women are different. Like you can't, like, look, either you want equal punishments for men and women, and therefore you're saying that men and women are equal and the same, or you acknowledge that men and women are different and have different psychologies and therefore require different punishments to discourage them from committing actions.
Yeah. Men are afraid of men learn from immediate like punishment. Like, how do I explain it? I want to say just immediate but extreme punishment. That's where men tend to learn, right? Whether they serve 40 years in prison or they lose a limb. That's how they learn. When it comes to women, 9 times out of 10, it's usually public shaming in some form. Because once again, like what Gray said before, women need societal acceptance to survive. If no man or woman of value wants to be around her, she's going to live a very difficult life.
And the other thing is that if a woman's marked like that, every predatory person is going to realize this is an easy target. No one's going to care what happens to this person.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. She ain't going to have anybody to be around to protect her and save her because no one wants to be around her. So when some robber or some creep sees that mark, he'll be like, free real estate.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. It's going to be like, the problem is with shit like the Me Too movement, false accusations and whatnot, women have basically made it so that no man can tell the difference between the kind of woman that is worth protecting and the kind that one needs to avoid. Because women have this, because women deserving of punishment are not marked. No, Coltimus, you need to provide an argument for why equal punishment needs to happen. Beyond just like an emotional sense of justice, because how about let's flip it around? How about we do these marked punishments for women and then we do the marked punishments for men as well? Just abolish the whole fucking prison system and replace everything with corporal punishment and public shaming. Because then it's equal.
Yeah, it won't work. It won't work the same cultimus because once again, men don't give a damn. As long as they have their freedom and they can move about, they can do what they need to do to survive.
Like you need to provide a proper argument for why equal punishment needs to happen beyond just asserting it. Because right now you just have no argument beyond stating it repeatedly as though somehow it is just inherently true.
Leftover women, yep. See, chat, I'm telling you, public
Because
shaming plays a big factor. Look at this. If you're over 30 in China, you're leftovers.
well, then Goldsmiths, because they're equal under the law, I'd have to double check the Constitution where it says men and women are all equal under the law. Because I'm pretty sure that the Constitution just says that all men are equal under the law.
There's just a few amendments that have to be thrown in there. But you're not wrong, Gray. You're not wrong. Cultimus, you gotta understand, right? If men and women are different, we gotta go about the punishments differently.
And guess what? Like that law, the law that says that they're all equal, yeah, that's the law of a country that is currently dying. I wouldn't exactly call it a success.
That is true.
Like, I'm sorry, if you're going to say, hey, this is how things should live to be good, like you don't point out somebody who's dying of several types of cancer and diabetes and say, yeah, that's a good example to model society on.
Was it ever about equality? Fuck no. Let's keep it real. Las Vegas says Japan does the same thing. Women over 30 are called Christmas cakes, referencing pastries that do no sell after December 25th.
Actually, it's women over 27, not even 30. Japan gets them even earlier.
Oh, it's 27. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've heard women referred to as Christmas cake as young as 27.
Yeah, see, chat. Do you wonder why? You have to think of the. I'm sure you guys do, but let me just, what's it called? Add another layer. Let me take it a step further. I'm gonna use Gray's saying. Do you really truly wonder why traditionalism is still around, at least in non-Western countries? Once again, there's various layers. One of them is not one of them. The main things is cultural, laws, family culture, and religion. Okay, so those are the big four things that pretty much predicts the outcome of keeping society together in a traditional sense. Now look at the United States and Canada. Like God is gone. like the church has been taken over by the state. The government's pretty much God now, and look what's happening out there. There's no nuclear families. The culture is pretty much Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. That's the culture.
Well, that's the thing. Right? It's half Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, there's a good chunk of it that's Sodom and Gomorrah, no question of that. But there's just a ton of complacent people that aren't willing to do what is necessary to stop it. And that is, well, because, let's be honest, this is a top-down issue. And SCE, if you're in the chat, I can probably expect a message on Discord from you regarding this. But the thing is, this is very much top-down enforced. And so the majority of the population, which is just going to follow whatever they are told to maximize their comfort and convenience, they will do what they are told. If they are told to turn a blind eye to Sodom and Gomorrah, they absolutely will.
I completely agree, man. I completely agree. I'm just saying, chat. Things are pretty much, how you say, in the natural state of things in traditional countries. Right now, the United States and Western Europe and Canada. Come on, there's people in power trying to argue that men can get pregnant.
Yeah. Okay, like also Colton is like, well, I think here's the thing. I need you to provide an example of a point in history where men and women were treated equally under the law and it actually worked. You can't just say, well, it could work if they were, because you have no proof. Whereas we have proof throughout history that using different tactics on men and women was effective.
If you don't punish women equally, then you have to give the men 100% authority over the woman to administer punishment. Well,
men do have authority to punish women. They're called the government. They're called the police. They're the ones with the power. Which men need to have the authority? Because right now, men do.
Yeah, men has always had the authority, but unfortunately, it's the simps in power that have the authority at the moment, and soon more and more women. Yeah,
like because if we want an example of a matriarchy where the women are the ones with the authority, look up how the fucking Aboriginals, like the Native Americans, the First Nations, and all that shit. Yeah. Look at how their societies went run by women. Fucking 10,000 years of mud huts. Well, I guess hide huts.
Damn, you went there. You ain't wrong.
10,000 years. And it's not like some of them couldn't. The Mayans got pretty fucking advanced with their aqueducts and shit. But 10,000 years of North American matriarchy, and they were still at fucking caveman levels of technology. In fact, I'm pretty sure that fucking primitive technology, the YouTube channel, has surpassed the Native Americans. And he's literally starting with nothing, just making shit out of fucking mud and clay in the fucking woods.
Yeah, I've seen countless channels where, you know, they're like, hey, let's go out there and just build shit out of nothing, because why not, right? They have like one or two tools, and they can build an entire good looking how you say, like a mini house, like, and they can construct daggers, construct tip of arrows, just from using other rocks. Like men, we know what we got to do. Like we good at this shit. But when it comes to the women doing the same thing on YouTube, it's always thirst traps, and they live comfortably in their van or whatever, and they have like 300 different tools just to build this little campfire. But they always have those booty shorts.
And also, like Coltimus, the husband and the fathers. Okay, well, that is a decentralization of power. Okay, no sane government is going to give ultimate authority over citizens to the husbands and the fathers. Because guess what? Who do the husbands and fathers answer to? Oh yeah, the strongest men.
Yep.
Yeah, the freaking local nobles, the kings. If the husbands and the fathers have the ultimate power over women, and the king has the power over the husbands and the fathers, then the king has the power over the women. The current paradigm just cuts out the middleman and has the women go directly to the king.
Completely agree.
Like the only way the husbands and the fathers are going to have control over the women is in an anarcho society where there is no centralized power structure. And that can only exist for a very short period of time.
Agreed. Like, not once what's happening right now in society is not normal. In my opinion, I'm not saying that the alphabet community never existed. Of course it existed. Like, as long as human history, my knowledge.
Yeah, well, cancer has always existed. That doesn't mean that we don't try to snuff it out every time we discover it.
Exactly. Yeah, there were cultures, there were countries that were a little bit more accepting of that thing, but that's besides the point. Right now, what's happening when it comes to society as a whole in the West, it's not normal because not once in human history we have to deal with these type of issues in the sense of social media and women literally having the exact same how you say rights as men, but they want to be treated as women at the same time. And if we don't do what these women say, she could just send us to jail. Like,
Yeah. And Coltimus, like, you're not understanding the current paradigm. The government does not punish women for the same reason that the government does not punish federal agents. They're the same thing.
the government does not punish. Okay, that's a whole different stream we gotta have because once again, like, it'll be a good hour to break that shit down.
Yeah.
And
I'll summarize, like, look, the government does not punish women because the women are the agents of the state. Their job is to control men.
yes,
If the government was to give men authority over women, then the government would be giving up an insane amount of power. And for what? What does the government gain by giving up their only real control over men outside of physical force?
yep. Like for example, back in the slave days, the slave owner, they tend to go after the women and influence the women to keep their men in line. Yes, that's what happens. They're like, hey, if you don't keep these boys in line, you know what I'm gonna do to them, huh? You know what I'm gonna do to you? And then they get afraid, and then and then the slave women be like, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. You want to make them angry, you want to make them mad, blah blah blah. Is this what you're gonna do to us, our family? And that usually keeps the men behave.
Yeah, and the
Right?
Coltimus,
They'll listen to a woman more than the woman that they're with. They'll be more inclined to listen.
Yeah, and Coltimus, it is not the 1850s anymore.
Nope.
Like, we have advanced almost 200 years. We are 170-ish years ahead of the 1850s right now. We have had the Industrial Revolution, multiple world wars, harnessed electricity effectively, defeated most common diseases. Like, what a trip that used to take days now takes mere hours. Or heck, a trip that used to take months takes hours. I can get to the other side of the planet in half a day. I can communicate with people on the other side of the world in basically real time. You cannot compare the power dynamics of the 1850s to today and say, well, it worked back then, so it would work today. No, it would not. Back then, the government could not command as much influence. For the government to get an order out, they literally had to send a dude on horseback to every single local village, have him pull out a proclamation and shout it in the public square, and then trust word of mouth to get the rest of it around. Nowadays, they can automatically send a buzz to your phone every time there's a missing child within a 500-mile radius.
Yep.
Shit's different.
We
Like, short of blasting us, like literally short of blasting us back to the tech level of the 1850s, you're not going to get that level of decentralization. Not a chance.
This is something we still gotta pick apart. Coltonus Maximus. Never in the history of humanity we had to deal with something like this as men. This is completely new to us.
Yeah. And no, we have not regressed. We have advanced to the point where shit is so bloody easy. I'd say we have more so atrophied than regressed. Like the
Is
same
he
way.
talking about when it comes to relationships or something like that?
I don't know. He's not specifying. He just says we have not advanced. We have regressed in this area. Oh, evolution? No. Okay. No. Evolution. I'm sorry. As Chronic would probably also get pissed at this, but as someone who at least has dipped a toe into post-secondary biology, evolution does not regress. You don't go
Right.
backwards. You go forwards in a way that is most suited to the environment.
Yeah.
Like
You can't
I
just
use
call
the
it
option of
evolution.
like if you have a white moth and you introduce a smoke producing factory to the area, and all the trees that were white like are now covered in black, the moths that are the most white will be eaten, the moths that are the most black will survive, and the moths will become black. Take the factory out, trees revert back. The moths do not regress back to their white form. They evolve into a white form again.
Agreed. You can't just unevolve yourself. That's not biology. You move forward no matter what, whether it's good genes or bad genes. You're just going to consistently always evolve.
So, no.
Where's the evolution is not moral, it is statistical. Well, evolution is biology.
Yeah. Like,
Um,
evolution don't give a shit. Like, I'm sorry, we do not evolve into some sort of grand being. Not every life form is evolving into some ultimate final form that we're just trying to achieve. No, we are literally just adapting to the environment that we have.
Lost Vein, I'm not doing call-ins today. Not today. But if you're talking about relationships or something like that,
No, this isn't even regression in terms of relationships. When throughout human history has the state of male and female relationships ever been this bad?
fair enough. I can't really think of a time.
There never before in human history has it been this bad.
So it evolved for the worse, Cultimus.
Yeah.
That's all I'll
Like,
say.
like it's evolved into a hyper selective, I think it was mentioned earlier, like R versus K type. Like basically, we have changed from a species that is putting we're not even, it's not even like we've changed. It's right now like there's a conflict between R type and K type. And I don't know which is which off the top of my head, forgive me. But basically, it is a battle between the investment in few kids versus the investment in versus minimal investment in many kids. And the problem is we have this artificial pressure of the government supporting the low investment in many kids by extracting wealth from men. Like, so through all these taxation and welfare programs, like a bunch of kids that by all rights should not make it to reproductive age are making it to reproductive age, and they are outbreeding the ones who invest a lot in very few kids.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna read this right quick. In the past, civilization in the past towards their end started to obsess over gender and sex. That is true. The West is at the point where the ones having we're the ones having to import people to keep this civilization going. I also completely agree.
Well, we're not really keeping this civilization going so much as we're keeping the economy going. I think that we need to differentiate between economy and civilization. Because right now the civilization is being sacrificed for the economy.
Yeah. There's few reasons behind why we got, we're letting a bunch of immigrants fly in here through the South.
And a big reason why all this outbreeding, whether this being outbred and whatnot is happening, is because it is the labor of the native population that is supporting the immigration. If you cut off all the bloody immigration, period, then you would have pressure. Like you would have pressure, first of all, like from the top down, to have the natives breed again. And you'd also free up a shit ton of the economy because now you would be able to suppress wages. Like, remember, it wasn't that long ago that one man could support an entire household on a solitary income. If you took out all the immigrants and you took women out of the workforce, that could happen again.
We gotta start over. If you get what I mean, that's pretty much gonna be the end game.
That's the thing. But like, the government is not going to do that because both women and immigrants are dependent on the government. So they are going to, like, the government maintains power through this system. So I really don't buy any talk of the pendulum swinging back or whatever.
No,
Shit's gonna have to end, or you're going to have to ditch the civilization and try to make it in a better environment.
Well, why do you think they're so mad at us in the first place? Men are walking away from the system, where the government relies mainly on men.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they need these value-producing men, because keep in mind, all of these immigrant families, most of them, they send the working age men over, and the working age men work in a society that pays them significantly more. Well, I guess an economy that pays them significantly more than they could earn back home. And then they send the money back home. So the money comes out of the local economy and is sent overseas to a different economy. It's a bucket with a hole in it.
I agree, Cultimus. Rome also let in the immigrants, which is also one of the many reasons Rome fell.
That's the thing,
that's a long story. That
is a long and nuanced story, but short answer, yes. But there's a difference. Rome initially assimilated. They'd conquer an area and then say, okay, you are now Rome. You are Romans now. There's a difference between saying you are citizens of this country, you will follow these laws, you will be beholden to them, and you will be treated the same as every other Roman, and letting in a whole bunch of foreigners and saying, here, have your own fucking alcove where you can just do whatever the fuck you want by your own standards, and we will not hold you to the same standards as everyone else. In fact, we will hold you to even lower standards and give you more protection. Plus, hey, here's some free money taken from our citizens. Yeah, no. There's a difference.
Well, the U.S. played it smart for a while when they were, asserting their influence into the world. Hey, you can, you can keep your country, keep the name, keep your little culture, but you have to follow our, philosophy, our policies, and you're going to be our friend.
Yeah, I legit think that was a bad call.
Why is that?
Because here's the thing. I look at, okay, what are the success stories and what are the failures? I look at Mexico, ironically enough, as a success story. Because because here's the thing. Where did Mexicans come from?
From Mexico? Or you mean from the where they were first?
Where did Mexicans come from?
Well, if you're talking about original location, I will say pretty much the United States, southern United States and downward, pretty much.
Okay, no, but did Mexicans exist prior to the Spanish coming across the sea?
Nah, Mexicans came from Mexico.
Precisely, because they are a mix of the Spanish and the locals. They literally bred an entirely new race specific to the local territory.
I see what you're saying.
And I believe that is a mistake that the English made, and the French too, because they also played a part in colonizing America as a whole, both Canada and the US, is that they instead isolated a bunch of the natives. There's been some the Métis are an example of when French settlers like bred with the local natives and created an entirely new like subset of the population, like an entirely new race, basically. Just think, there's none of this cultural bullshit between the fucking Spanish and the Aztecs with the Mexicans. They worship both. Like they have a shared cultural history. Meanwhile, in Canada, in the US, it's fucking pocket networks of different cultures all fighting against each other. There's no shared history there. It's a bunch of different histories fighting with one another. You have to do one of two things when you take over a territory. You either breed the previous one out of existence and assert a new one, or you exterminate them. Anything else, and you're just setting yourself up for long-term failure.
True. And the US pretty much went for the latter a lot of times. Extermination.
Well, no, that's the thing. Name one native population that the US outright exterminated.
I can't really name the exact population, but I know there was a Trail of Tears where around 200,000 natives died.
Okay, but are natives still around in the United States?
Yeah, but
then it's not an extermination; it's a culling.
Well, I will say,
if you don't take out 100, okay, if you only kill 90% of the fucking cockroaches, that's not extermination. That's a culling.
No, not Latinx. What the fuck? No. Anyway, what'd you say? What was that other word?
Like if you only kill 90% of the fucking cockroaches, you didn't exterminate them, you just culled them. The US, like, yeah, maybe they took out some fucking tribes, but they didn't take out the entire native population. They still put a bunch of them on reserves, and they're still harassing the United States economy to this day.
Fair enough. Okay, they didn't exterminate 100%, but they did go out of their way saying, give them the land or we're wiping you out if you're in that certain area.
Yeah, well, they didn't. That's the thing. It shouldn't have been an if or a thing. Because where the fuck are they going to go?
Just away from the new United States. Keep going west. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, no,
pretty much what
that's the thing. Because then you just create a resentful population in another area that is going to fucking try to come back and reclaim land. Like, no.
Yeah,
you gotta go really fucking old school. You either forcibly assimilate the lot into your society and erase their previous culture that way, or you erase it via extermination. If you don't do either of those, and you're just setting a ticking time bomb, and you're basically leaving cancer behind to infest your society into the future.
Well, they didn't think that far ahead, right? It's like, hey,
no, they didn't.
Pew, pew, pew.
No, that's the thing that they didn't. I guess the British, like the English, British, whatever, they've been so soft, and it has fucked them over. Like, can you imagine? Like, think of Gandhi, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that Gandhi's strategy would have worked against Stalin?
Fuck no.
Yeah, it only worked against the British.
Yeah. So Stalin will stomp that shit out like immediately.
Yeah, like he would have just taken that freaking mass demonstration, poured gunfire into the crowd until they submitted, taken the ringleaders and had them put up against the wall and made examples of. And I would have gone on doing whatever the fuck he wanted, regardless of who's having a bloody hunger strike.
Yeah. I guess Britain was way too worried about their image, trying to look holier than thou to the world.
Yeah.
You know, I see what you're saying.
And it's the same thing with the whole refusing to breed with the natives thing. Because, like, the Métis, like, that's the French. But yeah, like, the French will fuck anything, but the British, no. Like, that's the thing. Every time I hear about a population of mixed race natives and whites, it's always the French. Like, the British had this whole fucking racial purity thing going on. It's like, nah, you can't have that attitude and conquer an area and not exterminate the locals. You either got to get rid of that fucking holier than thou racial purity thing and breed the locals so hard that all traces of the original population are permanently blended, or you got to go full extermination. You can't have racial purity and be a good person.
And that's literally how it's always been since the dawn of time until the last few hundred years.
Yeah.
You know, like you go to a tribe and you see, you're like, hey, we're gonna take out your men and your oldest boy, and we're gonna take the women and children with us, and you're gonna live under our rules now, you know, type situation.
Yeah.
Then they didn't have a choice, and I'm not surprised about France, right?
Yeah, like it's France. It's France. Like the French will fuck anything. And
they see some native cheeks, like, come on over here, girl. Do their native dance.
Ooh, exotic.
I'm sorry. I just, everything is way too funny. Oh God. Oh, it shouldn't be funny, but it's funny.
Okay, look, we've laughed at darker shit than this. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, and I think it's a similar situation with the United States and the West as a whole. You know, they're doing their best trying to be like grandstanding and, you know, try to look like, oh, look at our country. Our people can do whatever they want.
What's the thing? It's the same problem that the fucking conservative parties have in both countries. Republican, conservative, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They'd rather nobly lose than win.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because of that public image. Chat.
Yeah, like they are more scared of being called mean names than they are of losing everything that they claim to stand for.
Yep, that's why conservatives are called the silent majority.
That's what they're called, fucking trad cucks, because that's exactly what they are. They're cucks.
Okay. Yeah, trad cucks.
Like they are literally being cucked, while somehow it's like they are cucks in the same way that all these fucking YouTubers are. You know, just to bring this shit full fucking circle, because they're claiming that they're like the strong, they're the resilient, they're the true voice of the people, they're the ones who should be your role models. Meanwhile, they're fucking pansy pushovers who jerk off in the corner holding the camera while their women get fucked by every single immigrant.
Oh shit! You're not wrong. Yeah, that's 100% true. That's 100% true. And how you say? Oh, people want to say mixed racing is bad. Oh, well, too bad. It's been happening since the dawn of time.
Yeah, not like mixed race is not bad when everyone's fucking doing it. Like mixed race is bad when it's just like, you know, one or two random things. But when it is fucking basic ass policy, oh hell yeah, there's no problem with that.
Yeah, like since the dawn of time, if a man sees a woman and the woman's looking good, she got them cheeks, he's going after it. I don't think he's worried too much about the skin color. No.
Now,
Like,
yes, there's been some genetic compatibility issues that I've heard of. Like, I personally knew a guy who, yeah, he had like some issues with his joints and bones, specifically because his parent, like, he was mixed race. But like,
well,
that's
at the
probably
day,
far more rare because you need genetic diversity for healthy offspring. The problem with mixed race is when you run into the cultural issue from like, oh, which ancestry do I pay attention to? Which ancestry is mine? And if you have a shared population, then that's not an issue because that is your culture.
Agreed. And
Like that, the Métis, it was all mixed race. The Métis were all fucking mixed race, and they successfully rebelled against the fucking British government of Canada. And they had their own fucking culture that was a mix of both the French and their native history. The same way that the Mexicans have a culture that is a mix of like their South American and Spanish history. Like it works with a large population. It's when it's sporadic and fucking random that it's a problem.
Yeah, and CC says Thomas Jefferson. Yeah. Do you think he gave a fuck about the black women's skin color?
Well,
No.
by the sounds of it, he gave a lot of fucks, actually.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to go to. He had multiple kids by, I think, one baby mother. I think it's one or probably multiple. But at the end of the day, chat, come on. You already know as men, if she looking good, we're going after it.
Yeah.
Right?
Horniness is not limited by race.
Yeah, fuck all that. Like you'll go after them all. You don't care if she's Japanese. You won't even care that she's Indian. You won't care that she's from Peru. As long as she's looking good, that's all that matters. Yes, what I mean by good, you already know there are things that you can't deny that men are looking for.
Yeah. No, and
Right.
I honestly, I think I found the descriptor for the kind of body type that I actually find straight up unattractive. I finally found the words to describe it.
What's up?
Homer Simpson in a wig.
Wait.
Fucking repulsive. If a woman has the same fucking body shape as Homer Simpson, downright repulsive.
Yeah.
Fucking nothing up top, just the fucking wide ass hips that eventually merge with the fucking thighs. Some like physically one coworker went like, hey, look at her, she's thick, and I just looked at him. Like he thought I was repulsed by, that like, oh God, he made a sexual comment about a woman, when in my brain I'm thinking, dude, have some fucking standards. That is basically Homer Simpson in a wig. How the fuck do you find that attractive?
Chad, you already know, okay? Like society, once again, is freaking out because more and more men are walking away and they're starting to have standards. They want you to be horny about Lizzo. They want you to be horny about a freaking Transformer. They want you to be horny about an 80-year-old woman.
Oh God, I guess the thing, like at least some, like, is the like I'm not saying I'm attracted to this, but okay, like you can have a fat ass woman and she got big titties. Homer Simpson in a fucking wig does not have titties. There's nothing upstairs. It is just like everything is around her fucking hips. I've never understood pear-shaped until I fucking saw that. I was like, oh my God, that's what pear-shaped means. That's fucking horrifying.
Like something must be, at least back then, right? We're gonna go old school. Something's definitely wrong with you if you are a woman that looks like Homer Simpson. If you have that pear shape, something's gotta be wrong with you. Only the lowest of the low men will try to get at that.
Like the only reason
that's the men that she doesn't want.
Like it's like not even like you can't even say like, oh well, like pregnancy is like no. I've seen plenty of fucking pregnant women. There's a difference between a pregnant woman and a fat woman.
You can tell right away. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like when you're pregnant, all that weight goes to your fucking belly. When you're fat, it goes to the thighs first. Like biologically, women like they first accumulate fat in their thighs. Men, it actually goes to the belly, which is why it's so hard to get a fucking six pack. But for women, it goes to the thighs.
Yep. And I seen women snap right back after pregnancy. A lot of them. It literally looked like they weren't pregnant in the first place.
Shit, I seen fucking women who like they basically maintain the body shape. They just got a fucking like beach ball in their belly. Like it's like, all right, she's still cute.
Like, does it hurt? Like it looked like her stomach was going to explode because how fit she is, like god damn girl. But they're able to snap right back. Boom. That's signs of a very healthy woman, very fertile woman. Booyah. But once again, a woman that looks like I don't know how to explain it. It's just nothing but love handles, a big bulging stomach.
Homer Simpson in a wig, man. That's all it is. It's just Homer Simpson in a wig.
Like, that's gross. Come on, chat. Chat, be real. Yeah, Lizzo's famous. Yeah, Lizzo, she got all that money. But she approached you at the bar saying, "I'm Lizzo. I want to do something with you." I guarantee you, I will say 8 times out of 10, you will say no, unless you're very desperate to get paid.
No. Like, I'm sorry. If it's fucking Lizzo, I'm taking that fucking suitcase full of cash up front, and I'm depositing that shit in the bank first.
Shit, I'll ghost her right after. Thank you for the money.
No. Like, I'll still pay. I'll still do my fucking dues. Like, if I get like fucking $500,000 in a suitcase, and Lizzo's like, "You're gonna give me the most amazing night in exchange for this," I'll be like, "You know what? All right."
I'm not gonna go out like that one dude when he got killed getting sat on. Nope.
No, but like, let's be honest. Does Lizzo look like she can? Well, that's the thing. Like, you just gotta be careful. Because I also remember that one dude who got his face jumped on, and every time I think of that, fucking Ave Maria plays in my head. Honestly,
Oh God.
like, I need to find that video, find Ave Maria, and just make that video. Like, I could publish it like on YouTube, obviously, but
Chad, that's another thing. Okay, I can't deal with morbidly obese chicks or even overweight chicks. I can't, because once again, when she's on top of you, you're done. There's no way you can get out, right? It's like come on. Not too many people practice reps of their pelvis, the pelvis workouts.
yeah, no,
You'll be fucked.
Let's be honest. Like, if you can't bench her, then probably not a good idea to let her get on top of you.
Shit, can I bench 325? I used to. I'm down around 40 pounds. I'm 280, 285 right now. I'll get back up there, but that's besides the point.
Okay, like, let me be honest. If you're dating a woman that's over 285 pounds, Karnak's gonna slap the shit out of you.
Oh no, I will definitely say my graces to the Lord, saying, "Hey, I'm coming home to the kingdom and eat myself, because ain't no way you catch me with a girl that big, never ever."
Like, I think you'd be better off getting like 140-pound girls and benching that.
That's my range is around. Let's say the heaviest I'll go will be 145, 150. It depends on her body type.
Body type, fat distribution, muscle content, and height. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
there's some range in there.
Yeah, it all plays a part, but there's no reason for a woman to be like 180.
There's no reason for there's no reason for a woman to be like 180, like, just.
If she's 180, she better be a WNBA player.
Okay, you've seen WNBA players. Would you seriously go for that?
Only one. That there's this tall, very tall chick. She's like 6'6", 6'7", and she didn't look that bad. She towered over the dudes that she was playing with, but I'm like, you know what? She alright.
I mean, tall girls need love too, and
I'll climb that mountain. Shit. Like, hold on, girl. Give me a second. I gotta get up there. Let me grab a ladder.
Let me get my alpine gear.
It's like rock climb up this bitch. Like, goddamn. But 99% of them, no, I wouldn't give them a time of day. They look like dudes with a wig. I'm sorry. They look like lanky dudes. I'm sorry. Unless they dress in how do I explain it? WNBA can't get a lot of views, but let's just say I'm gonna get a lot of feminist hate if I start dishing out ideas. They won't like me. Like,
as though the feminists like you as you are now.
I'm just saying. Okay, the big thing that I actually got into an argument with is I'm like, just lower the fucking rim. What do you mean lower the rim? Blah blah blah. I'm like, only 4 of you can dunk in the entire WNBA. Like lower the rim so you're able to do a lot more. How dare you? Just because we're women?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like why else? Like what? It's because you wear Adidas? Like you know why?
I mean, like let's be honest. If the WNBA actually made money and paid out money proportionate to the number of people actually watching the WNBA would cease to exist. It's a fucking charity paid for by the NBA.
Pretty much. I completely agree.
Here, let me provide a counter argument here. Take all these WNBA players and make them the equivalent of ring girls.
That is pretty much a great comparison. I agree. They're okay. They're pretty much useless.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like athletically, like here's the thing. Like imagine if like you did have like, you know, in between rounds, like during intermissions or whatever, you had like some attractive girls like doing some kind of choreographed routine, like maybe playing with the basketball to show that, hey, these girls are different from the other ones because they actually have some mild basketball skills. Like not like they're being competitive or anything, but they're doing some kind of choreographed, like advanced gymnastics with the basketball. And they're in like, you know, somewhat attractive outfits. That'd be something that would actually be interesting to watch in between all the sweaty guys being super competitive.
Well, do you know what makes me laugh the most is how there were women that got butthurt of volleyball being one of the most watched sports by men. I'm like, you know why they're watching it. You know why.
You're in bikinis and you're making things jiggle. They took the fighting game franchise Dead or Alive and made, I believe, multiple spin-off games where it was just the girls of that franchise playing beach volleyball.
It's a great sport. See, if you can, how you say, women like to say, "Oh, men don't care about girl sports like that because they only want to look at our bodies." I'm like,
Okay,
that's not the whole. That's not the whole issue. Men actually do pay attention.
No, ladies, I'll be honest. If you could actually compete at the same level of competitiveness, at the same level of skill as men, then men would 100% be invested. But you can't.
So you got to go with Plan B. No pun intended.
took a second there. But that's exactly the thing. It's like, look, ladies, you cannot compete at the same level as men physically. You just can't. Like, you can make men maybe somewhat impressed by your skill level, but that's only going to be in comparison to other women. You can't compete with men on that. And so you got to have something else that makes it work.
Yeah. How is it going to make me keep my eyes glued to the TV? Huh? I actually pay attention to the game. I actually pay attention to the score. And hell, I even pay attention to the skills. But you got to keep me occupied. You give me a reason to stay on that channel.
You got to give me a reason to be invested in you.
I'm serious. See, a lot of women they really can't comprehend how important female beauty is. Like, men take that shit very fucking seriously. Like, we will have
passionate arguments and debates over the attractive qualities of women.
Oh man, like, you might as well get a round table and a bunch of men in suits, you know, drinking wine or drinking some whiskey, smoking cigars, literally having a debate about that. Literally, we will be professional. We will be philosophical. It will be, you know, the pictures of the Renaissance.
There are entire franchises dedicated to the debate of big tits versus flat. Franchises.
There's a whole war usually on social media about that, like team ass or team titties. Literally, men go to straight up like verbal altercation over that. Women can't understand how important female beauty is, and if they can incorporate that in sports properly, right? I truly believe their numbers will skyrocket.
That's the thing. Like, if you had a team that consisted entirely of B cups or smaller, and they faced off against a team where the smallest was a D cup, oh, the fucking numbers that would roll in, the competitiveness, the fucking support, the super chats.
There's that one guy like, I don't care who wins. This is a reward in itself.
Well, that's the thing. And then like men on both sides would like nod and agree, but they're like, yeah, no, we agree that this is a victory for us regardless, but we're still going to cheer on our preferred team as hard as we fucking can.
Oh man, and I don't know if you know about the lingerie football team.
No, I think I might have heard about that.
It was back, on, I think it was on G4 or something like that. But they were doing phenomenal numbers. And do you know how crazy the men in the crowd are going for these teams? They were going crazy.
That's the thing. Is like, look, ladies, just because they are cheering over your bodies does not mean that they aren't cheering over you. Your bodies are a reflection of who you are. Yes, you judge a book by your cover. Like you judge a book by its cover. Ladies, the body that you wear into public every single day, men read into your personality by. Like if you are fucking fat, can't fucking breathe, waddling around, like men look at you and go, this is someone who is not healthy. This is someone who does not take any pride in themselves, does not take good care of themselves. I don't want to be around this person. The same way that they look at like a super fucking fat dude doing the same thing. Now, different in the gym. Like, I'm just going to fucking toss this disclaimer. Like, if you are out of shape, overweight, and you are going into the gym, men will be your biggest fucking supporters. Because they'll see you like, hey, you are fucking, like, you know what you're trying to do. You're putting in the fucking effort. 110% support.
Yep. You will always be supported. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Men respect, how you say, hard work and accountability.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, Chad, like what Bill Burr says, like women, they just love destroying each other, right? When the lingerie football team were making record numbers, I agree with Ramos. The women in my family didn't like that us guys are watching women in lingerie running around with the football. They didn't like that. Oh, so objectifying, blah, blah, blah. Okay, are you going to watch it? No, I don't like football.
Do you want these female athletes? Yeah, like if you're not going to support women in football, then they got to appeal to the kind that will. Like, we know you don't give a shit about football. Like, women, like all you female athletes, we need you to fucking drill this into your head. Women do not give a shit about you. They don't care about sports. Never have, never will. Just not their fucking thing. Maybe there's a tiny portion, but it's not enough to even support a fucking local game. Like, the only reason that fucking local female sports might take off is from parents going to watch their kid perform.
Agreed.
You cannot perform on a fucking nationwide level being financed by your fucking parents watching the game. No, you need to attract a nationwide audience, and that requires you to attract the men of the nation who aren't related to you. So you're going to have to appeal to the shit that they want. Otherwise, they're going to do something else with their time because they have infinite other things to watch.
Exactly. Look at the lingerie. Go do your research, chat. Look up the lingerie football team, or league, and go look at the stands. Literally, majority of the stands is just straight up men, and the men were heavily invested. They each tackle, each interception, men were going fucking nuts.
'Cause
Right?
that's the thing.
Yeah. What's up?
Like if you put out a mod, like if you somehow grabbed EA and you replaced every single male player on that team with a female equivalent in lingerie, I'm willing to bet that the game would fucking hit record numbers because it would appeal not only to the football nerds, but it would probably introduce a whole bunch of other guys who probably wouldn't even be into that shit.
Exactly. And when will we
Wait,
ever
hold on.
see?
I need to look this up right now because why the fuck isn't there like a fucking anime game that is just straight up anime football in fucking lingerie? Why is that not a thing? That should be a thing.
Legal issues.
We have fucking anime war. We have fucking anime girl warship video games. Multiple of them, multiple franchises of them. We have more fucking historical naval recreations using anime girls than we do football games.
That is true. Hopefully you'll find a mod. But
I ain't seeing shit.
Yeah, that's a new market. That's
game developers right there. That is a fucking franchise right there. Fucking Japan. Japan. Any Japanese devs. American football anime girls video game. You make that, you make a shit ton of money.
That is true. I'm gonna read this right quick. Gatekeeper says female athletes are too aggressive and intimidating narcissists.
Okay, but if they're anime aggressive and intimidating narcissists, it kind of works because it can fit into the fucking waifu thing.
But real life, that's just called competition, bro. I don't believe they're too aggressive or narcissist. Who isn't trying to be aggressive and a narcissist during a game?
Okay, like, look, there's a difference between a fucking real life football lady being a fucking intimidating narcissist and it being some kind of weird combination of tsundere and ojo-sama, all right? Like, you just got to understand how to present it in a way that appeals to men. The problem is, like, women, like, they basically, like, well, you just have to find a way to present the exact same characteristics in a way that is appealing to men. And the problem is, women just replicate what men do, and it doesn't fucking work.
Nope. They gotta...
But, like, 100% serious. Like, look, guys, think about it. If there was a fucking mobile gacha game where you collected waifus, put them on your fucking fantasy football team, and then had that shit play out either completely automatically or with some manual control, that game would fucking sell like hotcakes.
Don't bother if you're not a game developer.
Okay, and then add furry DLC pack. Look, like, random guy, all you need to do is add some fucking animal ears and tails. Like, and then bam, you can have some fucking furry characters.
Hey, no furry bullshit in my chat.
Hey, fuck it, Geet. Are you seriously telling me that you have not found a girl wearing fucking cat ears and a tail cute?
No.
Never?
No.
Damn.
That fur thing is weird to me. And it's getting weirder by the day.
You ain't never had a girl wear fucking cat ears.
The emos, sure.
Okay, yeah, then you see the cuteness. Like, there's a difference between... No?
No. I don't know why.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Let me put it this way. You being a prude about fucking cat ears and tails is the same as your fucking female relatives being prude about lingerie.
Why are you walking around with cat ears and tail?
Why the fuck are you walking around playing football in lingerie?
They're not walking around. They're in the field. They're in a competition.
So they're having the fucking
There's no
cat ears.
competition about furry unless there's some furry arena. where they fight to the death. Not fight to the death. Where they fight. Not just walk around in public like, ooh, look at my foxtail and my cat ears, and let me pretend
Have
to
you
be
never been to an anime con, like ever?
2 times.
Did you not see girls walking around wearing fucking cat ears and tails?
A few times, yeah. I'm assuming anime character.
Well, sometimes it's just they wear fucking cat ears and tails, man.
No, well, I thought that they were just cosplaying. a
They
character.
might have been, but it's like sometimes they'll just wear the fucking cat ears and tails because that shit's fucking cute.
God damn it, Gray.
Yeah, no, like, and that's the thing, like Osmond, like, look, there's degrees of it. Like, if you're going to go like the full furry with the muzzle and whatnot, like, you're gonna end up. The problem is the fucking furry community. Like, yeah, they have a shit ton of money, but they are super fucking weird. Like, if you're going to go full furry, you can't be appealing to a general audience. You have to make a niche furry game. Now, they'll still pay out the ass because furries will pay out the ass, but you do not want to try to blend a relatively normie populace with the kind of furry population that likes fucking muzzles and like full body fur or scales and shit. You gotta separate them because otherwise the fucking furries are gonna weird out the normies.
Why does the furry community exist?
I'd
Does
have
it
you.
have history
I'd say
behind
like I will send you a video made by Flashgits, which is probably the most acute summary of furries and why they exist. And it's also some more Hammer 40K with the Black Templars shit, which is fucking amazing. But yeah, if you ask why they exist, there's a bunch of bored ass rich kids with way too much time and money on their hands looking for some kind of stimulation.
I love how a bunch of people just left when we're having this furry talk. That's hilarious. But in all seriousness, I do have to head out. So do you have anything else to say to the chat?
Yeah, I guess conclusion for the topic is that like women largely live in an isolated bubble because they're not punished for living in an isolated bubble. And the only way to correct the behavior at all, or even to put it under some kind of control, is to enact consequences. And the consequences that women are most susceptible to is public shaming.
Pretty much took the words out of my mouth. But Chad, thank you very much for being here today. All right. Very productive conversation. We veered off a few times, but we did get our point across. Okay. I'm sure Chronic will be streaming soon, so I'm going to send you guys over there. Hopefully you enjoy your Friday evening.
Yeah. Might be pushed back a bit. I'm just seeing in the Discord that it might be pushed back an hour or so. So you might have a little bit of time before that happens.
Well, damn. Well,
so y'all know, like, you know, get yourself some snacks, refresh your drinks, go to the bathroom, get your intermission stuff.
Yep. Take a nap if you need to. Get ready. You might see me and Gray on. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen today? All right. We are out. Peace.
Peace out, Warband.